All right. So we are diving in to the Bhagavad Gita,
Oh, yeah.
chapter 16. I'm excited about this one. This is one that I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of.
Yeah.
You say Bhagavad Gita to some people and they're like, oh, that's, ancient India, whatever. But this chapter really gets into the core
Yeah.
of what makes someone good
Yeah.
versus not so good, I guess you could say, in a spiritual sense. I mean, it's like a blueprint.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a blueprint that's kind of written within us, too. Like, it's not just this text that's telling us. It's really describing forces that are at play.
Yeah, I like how you said that. So chapter 16 lays out these two fundamental natures.
Yeah.
Right? The divine and the undivine.
Precisely. And Krishna, talking to Arjuna really paints this vivid picture of these two paths, right?
Mm.
And it's not so much about judgment, I think, as it is about understanding you have this choice, and then there are consequences that follow.
Okay, so let's start with the divine. What are the signs of someone who's on that path, someone who's headed towards this heavenly birth?
Fearlessness, a genuine thirst for knowledge,
Okay.
self-control,
Yeah.
generosity, non-violence, honesty.
Wow, it's quite a list. It
It
sounds almost saintly.
Yeah, yeah. But I think the key here is it's not like this unattainable ideal,
Right.
right? It's more like these are guideposts, right? You're moving in the right direction. It's
Yeah.
not like you have to be perfect in all these things. What stood out to you?
I was drawn to the part that says, "A mind that lightly letteth go what others prize." I love that
Oh, yeah.
because, especially in the world today, it's all about status and possessions and what you have and who you are and all this stuff. To be able to just let that go.
Yeah, it's a recognition that true happiness doesn't come from external validation or material things,
Right.
right? It's really an internal shift. It's a detachment.
It makes you think about all the stuff that we, normally stress over. Like, really, does that really matter in the grand scheme of things? It's like,
Cool.
I'm already feeling a little lighter just thinking about it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. All of these divine qualities, when they're cultivated, really lead us towards that inner peace and freedom.
Okay, so we've talked about the divine side, but there's a flip side to that,
Right.
right?
Absolutely.
There's the undivine.
Yeah.
What does Krishna say about those qualities?
So here's where things get interesting. He contrasts the divine with this stark depiction of the undivine nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
Highlighting traits like deceit, arrogance, anger, harsh speech, and ignorance.
Those definitely don't sound like things that are going to lead to a happy life.
Yeah.
But, the question is, are people really that black and white? I mean,
Right.
don't we all have a little bit of both within us?
Totally. It's not so much about, labeling ourselves as good or bad. I think it's about recognizing those forces that are at play within us, right? We all have the potential for both.
So it's more about awareness.
Right.
And then making choices
Exactly.
based on that awareness.
Right, right. And what's so fascinating is that he connects these inner qualities to our worldview. So he explains, the undivine, they see the universe as a place to satisfy their desires, right?
Right.
They deny any inherent order or purpose.
So their inner chaos
Yeah.
is reflected in how they see the world.
Exactly. Exactly. So, they're trapped in this endless cycle of chasing these fleeting pleasures, driven by what the Gita calls base deeds, right?
Yeah.
And ultimately, this leads to suffering, not less.
It's like they're digging a hole and thinking that they're climbing out of it.
Yes. Yeah, that's a powerful image. And this brings us to this crucial point, I think, in chapter 16, which is his description of what he calls the 3 doors of hell.
Okay. What are those 3 doors? That sounds a little ominous. What are we trying to avoid here?
Lust, wrath, and avarice. And he warns, these vices, they're the pathways to ruin. They're the root of suffering.
See, now this is where it gets real, because these are the pitfalls that we all face.
Totally.
No matter how divine we're striving to be.
Totally. And that's why it's so important to be aware of them, because they can manifest in subtle ways, right? It's not always about like blatant acts of greed or rage, for example. Lust can be, an insatiable desire for anything. It doesn't have to be just physical pleasure. It could be like power.
Oh, interesting.
Right, or recognition, and then wrath. It could be that simmering resentment that you kind of hold on to that poisons your thoughts.
Yeah.
And then avarice, it could be that constant feeling of never enough, right? Even when you have more than you need.
Wow. Yeah, it's so easy to fall into those traps without even realizing it.
Absolutely.
It's like these like hidden currents pulling us away from that divine path.
Totally, yeah. That's why self-awareness is so crucial, because we need to be able to spot these tendencies in ourselves before they kind of take root and steer us down this, what Krishna calls, the nether road.
Okay. So we've got the divine qualities to cultivate.
Right.
And the undivine ones to watch out for.
Yeah.
And then these 3 major pitfalls to avoid. But where do we even begin? I mean, this is all starting to sound a little overwhelming.
Yeah.
Like, where do we start?
Well, I think the beauty of chapter 16 is that it's not just this list of, rights and wrongs. It really is a roadmap to making conscious choices. And you have to remember, Krishna's advising Arjuna on a battlefield.
Oh, that's right.
It's a life or death situation.
He's facing this life or death decision, and he's paralyzed by the weight of it.
Right.
And Krishna's not, like, condemning him. He's empowering him. He's saying, look, you have this choice. You can act from a place of, fear, anger, attachment.
Right.
Or you can choose courage, wisdom, detachment.
So it's about aligning ourselves with the divine, even amidst chaos and uncertainty.
Absolutely. And that message resonates just as strongly today as it did thousands of years ago. I mean, we all face our own battles, right? Our own, conflicts, difficult decisions, tough situations. So instead of getting swept away by these challenges, we can use this wisdom to respond in a more understanding, aware way.
Exactly. Right. Recognizing those 2 natures within us and then consciously choosing which one to nurture.
So it's like we're being pulled in these 2 different directions.
Yeah.
And we have the power to decide which path to take.
Yeah. That's a really empowering thought. It's not just like we're victims of circumstance. We have agency. We can shape our own destiny.
I love that. But how do we make that choice? How do we cultivate these divine qualities in our everyday lives?
That's the $1 million question, right? I mean, there's no one-size-fits-all answer, but I think chapter 16 offers us some clues. I mean, remember all those qualities we discussed. Fearlessness, wisdom-seeking, self-control.
They sound great.
Right.
But putting them into practice.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it starts with recognizing that it's a process, right? It's a journey of self-discovery and growth. It's not about like overnight transformation. It's about taking these small, consistent steps in the right direction.
Baby steps.
Okay.
Give me an example.
Okay, sure.
What's a baby step towards fearlessness?
Okay, so let's say you're terrified of public speaking.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
A baby step could be like simply offering your opinion at a meeting, right?
Okay.
Even if it's a small contribution.
Yeah.
Or maybe signing up for that pottery class you've been putting off because you're afraid of failing.
Okay. I can see that.
Little things like that.
What about something more abstract, though? Like the mind that lightly letteth go what others prize.
Oh, yeah.
How do you put that into practice?
Yeah, that's a really powerful one. It could be, consciously choosing to not compare yourself to others on social media, or recognizing when you're seeking validation through material possessions and gently shifting your focus inward,
So finding that contentment and validation from within rather than from all these outside sources.
Exactly. And it's a big shift for a lot of us, right?
Yeah, it is.
But the rewards are immense because when we detach from that need to, chase after these things, it frees up so much energy to focus on what really matters.
I can see that. I'm starting to see how these concepts, they seem abstract, but then they can have very real applications in our everyday lives.
Totally. And the key is to start small, right?
Okay.
Pick one quality that really resonates with you and focus on cultivating it. Don't try to do everything at once, right? Maybe it's patience or generosity or truthfulness.
Okay.
Choose one, make it your focus for, a week, a month, however long it takes to really embody it.
So it's kind of like a step-by-step guide to becoming a more, a more divine version of ourselves.
You could say that. Yeah, absolutely. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress, right? There will be setbacks. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns. But the important thing is to keep moving forward, to keep striving towards that ideal.
And to remember we're not alone in that journey. Krishna's got our back.
Yeah, he does. He reminds us, he supports those who sincerely seek him. It's like having this cosmic cheerleader on our side guiding us along the path.
So to wrap up chapter 16, the key takeaway for me is we have a choice. We can choose to feed that undivine, nature within us, or we can choose to cultivate the divine.
Yeah.
And that choice, like you said, ripples out into every aspect of our lives.
It really does. Impacts our relationships, our careers, our, mental and emotional well-being, how we perceive the world and our place in it.
Yeah, that's incredible. So listeners, as you're going about your day, remember this powerful message from the Bhagavad Gita,
Yeah.
Choose wisely.
Yes.
Act courageously.
Yes.
And keep striving towards that highest potential.
Yeah. And until next time, may your journey be filled with peace, purpose, and the joy of self-discovery.
All right, so we're back, and I'm really excited to kind of get into the, the rubber hits the road part of this.
Right.
We talked about these divine qualities, but how do we actually put this stuff into practice? I mean, that's where the real transformation happens.
Absolutely. It's about embodying these principles, right? Not just intellectually understanding them.
Okay, so how do we bridge that gap? I mean, how do we move from, theory to practice?
We have to remember the Bhagavad Gita isn't just this philosophical text.
Right.
It's a guide for action. This is, happening on a battlefield, right?
Oh, yeah.
This conversation, Krishna is urging Arjuna to act, to make a choice. And that same urgency applies to us.
Okay, I get that. So it's not just enough to sit around and contemplate this stuff.
Right.
You actually have to live it. Easier said than done, though.
Right.
Right. I mean, where do we even start with that?
Well, I think it starts with recognizing that it's a process, right? It's a journey of self-discovery and growth. It's not about, overnight transformation. It's about taking those small, consistent steps in the right direction.
Okay, so baby steps.
Yeah.
Give me an example. What's a baby step towards fearlessness?
So let's say you're terrified of public speaking.
Yeah, I know a lot of people like that.
A baby step could be simply offering your opinion at a meeting.
Okay.
Right? Even if it's a small contribution. Or maybe, signing up for that pottery class that you've been putting off because you're afraid of failing.
Oh,
little things like that.
Yeah, I could see that. What about something a little bit more, abstract, like that whole mind that lightly letteth go what others prize? How do you put that into practice?
Yeah, that's a really powerful one. It could be like consciously choosing to not compare yourself to others on social media.
Okay.
Right? Or recognizing when you're seeking validation through material possessions and gently shifting your focus inward.
So it's about finding that contentment and validation from within rather than from all these outside sources. That's a big shift for a lot of people.
It is. It's a big shift. But the rewards are immense because when we detach from that need to chase after these things, right?
Yeah.
It frees up so much energy to actually focus on what really matters.
Wow. Yeah, I'm starting to see now how all these concepts that seem so, abstract and kind of heady can actually have really practical applications in our lives.
Totally. And the key is to start small. Right? Pick one quality that really resonates with you and focus on cultivating it. Don't try to do everything at once. Right? Maybe it's patience or generosity, truthfulness. Choose one and make it your focus for, a week, a month, however long it takes to really embody it.
So it's like a step-by-step guide to becoming a more, a more divine version of yourself.
You could say that. Yeah, absolutely. And remember, it's not about perfection. It's about progress, right? There will be setbacks. There will be times when you fall back into old patterns.
Yeah.
But the important thing is to keep moving forward, to keep striving towards that ideal.
And to remember that we're not alone on that journey.
Right.
Krishna's got our back.
Yeah, he does. Yeah. He reminds us, he supports those who sincerely seek him, right?
Yeah.
And it's like having this cosmic cheerleader, on our side, guiding us along the path.
I love that. So to kind of wrap up our deep dive into chapter 16, I think the key takeaway for me is we have a choice.
Yeah.
We can choose to, feed that undivine nature within us, or we can choose to cultivate the divine. And that choice, like you said, it ripples out into every
it does
aspect of our lives.
Absolutely. It impacts our relationships, our careers, our, mental, emotional well-being, how we perceive the world, our place in it.
It's incredible. So listeners, as you're going about your day to day, remember this powerful message from the Bhagavad Gita. Choose wisely, act courageously, and keep striving towards that highest potential.
Yeah. And until next time, may your journey be filled with peace, purpose, and the joy of self-discovery.